Yeah, my name's Andy Sixsmith. I'm a sports broadcaster, a sports reporter for Premier League Productions, covering the northeast of England, but mainly, obviously, Newcastle United.
As a Premier League journalist, how would you define success in football?
Success in football, I think, is making absolutely every single one of these people that we can see around us here at St James's Park tonight happy. Ultimately, football should always be regarded as a fans' game. I know we might measure it in terms of trophies and in terms of finance and everything like that, but as far as I'm concerned, a lad who's just from a working class family, I think any team should be trying to make the fans happy, and that's exactly what Newcastle United do these days. Ever since the takeover seemed to have gone through, it's a different atmosphere, a different feeling around this ground, and I can dare bet 52,000 Geordies tonight will be happy.
It's a fans' game, definitely. So, in your opinion, what role does financial investment play in achieving success in football?
Yeah, I mean, it's a success to a certain extent, but obviously if you don't have the right players, if you don't have the right manager, you don't get anywhere. I know a lot of people will look at Newcastle United and say, well, hang on a minute, Newcastle have had lots of investment. Well, in reality, they've had a good manager in Eddie Howe, and he's obviously led them to doing very, very well this season, to doing very, very well last season as well. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, finance will play a part. Football's becoming more and more of a business, but Newcastle are a fine example this season of showing that you don't need, billions and billions upon billions of pounds spent. You just need the right manager, you need the right players, and you need the right fans, and that's exactly what Newcastle United have achieved.
With the signings of the likes of Alexander Isak and Bruno Guimaraes since the takeover, how is Newcastle United able to attract more top-notch players and strengthen the squad?
I think in terms of a league position, obviously that helps, but in terms of how well they're doing, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. I mean, I've mentioned Eddie already, and the job that he's done. I mean, he has to give players a spiel. He has to basically sell this place to them, and hopefully, fingers crossed tonight, that we qualify for the Champions League, and that will allow him to sell the club a little bit more. But all of the success that Eddie's brought to the club, all of the success that the takeover's brought to the club so far, and the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, like you mentioned, but Kieran Trippier, I think, has to be mentioned. He's just been named as the Player of the Year for Newcastle this evening, and he was the very, very first. He was the one who bought in immediately a top quality player, World Cup experience. He's had obviously Champions League experience, so he's the type of player who's led the blueprint for other players to join as well, and I think other players sit up and take notice of that.
How do you think the new owners should strike a balance between their financial ambitions and the club's existing traditions and values? Are there any aspects of the club's identity that they should prioritise moving forward?
Far be it from me to pass out any information on what the owners have done. They've done a brilliant job so far. I think when a takeover goes through, like the one with Manchester City, obviously when Chelsea way back when, I think the immediate reaction is that they're going to spend a heck of a lot of money and they're going to revolutionise things overnight. I think what the Newcastle United owners have done is been very, very clever about it, very, very astute in the sense that they've spent money, sure, but they've also looked at other areas of the club as well. The women's team is doing absolutely incredibly well. The commercial side of things, the new owners have brought that element to proceedings that Newcastle arguably didn't have, and certainly didn't allow them to push into the higher echelons of the Premier League before. So I wouldn't go passing on advice from me because I know the least bit thing about business, but what Mehrdad Gadusi, Amanda Staveley, Jamie Rubin, Darren Eales has come in as well, what they've done in terms of revolutionising this club off the pitch has been nothing short of extraordinary in a relatively short space of time as well.
What are your expectations for Newcastle United in terms of performance and winning trophies in the near future? Do you think these expectations are realistic given the new financial backing?
Yeah, I think expectations are that Newcastle are going to go on and challenge for trophies, obviously qualify for the Champions League, which is hopefully what they're going to do tonight as well. And I think the fans are realistic, though, as a Newcastle United fan myself too. I kind of look at it and see the years that we've had previously where we've been up and down between the Championship and the Premier League. For us, our expectations are that the long time saying goes, we don't demand a team that wins, we demand a team that tries. Fortunately, we have one of those that does both these days. So yeah, trophies ideally in future years, but I think for this season qualifying for the Champions League has exceeded expectations. I think next year solidifying a top 4 place, solidifying the Champions League place, and possibly a trophy for the first time in God knows how many years, 60 odd years. So that would be fantastic next season, but whatever happens, this season has been an absolute joy to behold, and Eddie, the team and everyone behind the scenes have done an absolutely incredible job at Newcastle United.
Great, thank you for your time.